Chapter 9.5, Equations that contains fractions. Okay, if an equation has fractions, then how can we solve that equation? All right, first of all, we have to clear the denominators. So it's much easier when we solve an equation that contains fractions. So first, we have to find the LCD, then multiply the equation by the LCD. So you gotta multiply each side of the equation by the LCD, then the denominators will be cleared. So there's no more fractions in the equation. Then just simplify the equation. So once you simplify the equation and got the solution, always check the solution, because if the solution makes the denominator 0, then that is no longer a solution. So always check the solution. So for example, okay, we want to solve this equation. So this equation contains fractions. There are 3 fractions, and so that there are 3 denominators. So we will multiply this equation by the LCD. So let's find the LCD. Okay, so the LCD is, okay, numbers are 4, 3, 6. So the LCD should be 12 and x, 12x, because 12x is the least common multiple of these 3 denominators. So we will multiply this as the equation. So multiply each side of the equation by the LCD, which is 12x. Multiply by 12x. So since we multiply this by 12x, we have to distribute. Okay, so once you distribute this, we can clear the denominators. Okay, use the distribution property. Times 2 over 3x. Then this one is 7 over 6x. Let me write it here as it is and then simplify. So we can cross this out, reduce, so it will be 3, and then x cancel out. And from this, even same thing, this will be 4, x cancel out, this one reduced, and then cancel out. So the first term will become 3 times 3x minus 1. Okay, make sure that the whole numerator, 3x minus 1, is multiplied by 3. Then plus 4 times 2, 4 times 2, and this one is 7 times 12. Then the left side is 9x minus 3 plus 8 equals 84. Okay, now simplify this equation. So we don't have denominators anymore. Then 9x minus 5 each side. Minus 5 each side. So okay, wait a second. Did I write incorrectly? Okay, this one. This is 7 times 2. 7 times 2, not 12. It's got to be 7 times 2, right? 7 times 2. So it is 14. And then 14 minus 5. Okay, 5 each side. Okay. 5 each side, and there will be 9. So x equals 1. So we found the solution 1, and check. Is 1 okay? Always check. And 1 does not make the denominator 0, so 1 is okay. So look at this. If you have something over x, then we know that the denominator x cannot be equal to 0, because this will be, if x equals 0, then the denominator is 0, so the fraction will be undefined. So as long as all those x values that we so far found does not make the denominator 0, then it is okay. So since x equals 1, this number does not make the denominator 0, so x is the solution. Okay, so x equals 1 is okay. So, and solution. Okay, example 1, solve the equation, and this equation contains the fraction. So let's find the LCD, and the LCD is 2x. So we will multiply the whole equation by 2x, and use the distribution property. Then 2x times 4 over x minus 2x times x over 2, and 7 over 2 times 2x. And then simplify this equation. So we can cancel out x, so this will be 2 times 4 is 8, minus 2 cancel out, so x squared, 2 cancel out, so 7x. So why don't we move all the terms to the left or right? Left or right. In this case, x squared is minus, so why don't we move negative x squared to the right? So the leading coefficient will be positive. So move everything to the right. So the left side will be 0. And then move this x squared to the right, then it changes sign, plus 7x. And then move 8 to the right, then it becomes negative 8. So we have, this is quadratic equation. So once we have quadratic equation, we can use factoring method to find the solution. So x equals x squared is x times x. 8 is 1 times 7, 1 times 8. And the minus sign should be on 1. So this product is negative x. This product is 8x. The sum will be 7x. And this 7x m as the second term. So the right side of the equation will be x minus 1. The binomial on the first line and the binomial in the second line. Okay, so we have a product. The product is equal to 0. Then using the zero product rule, we will set each factor is equal to 0. Set each factor equal to 0. So let's go to the right. So we will set x minus 1 is equal to 0. And x plus 8 is equal to 0. Then from the first one, plus 1 each side, plus 1 each side, then x is equal to 1. Or, okay, minus 8 each side, then x is equal to negative 8. So we have so far found 2x values. And check the solution. Okay, if you see the original equation, x can be any real number except 0, because if x equals 0, then the denominator will be 0. It's undefined. The equation will be undefined. So as long as the values that we found is not 0, then they are the solutions. So the solution will be x equals 1 or x equals negative 8. So these two values are the solutions. Okay, problem 1. Solve this equation. Okay, pause this and then try yourself right now. Okay, did you get the solution? Okay, let's try together. Let's find the LCD. This equation contains the fraction, two fractions, and the denominators are 3 and 3x. So the LCD from the denominator is 3x. So we will multiply the equation in each side of the equation by 3x. So here it is. You multiply the left side of the equation by 3x, the right side by 3x. You know, when you multiply each side of the equation by the LCD means multiply each term by the LCD, each term. So multiply x, 1/3, and 4 over 3x by what? 3x. So we will multiply each side by 3x. That means multiply everything by 3x. All right, and then simplify this. So 3x squared plus cancel out 3. So we have x. Cancel out 3x. So we got 4. And then move all terms to the left. So move 4 to the left. And then factor the left side of the equation. Now equation, the one side of the equation is 0. So in order to solve this, we will factor the left-hand side of the equation. So this is x times 3x. 4 is, okay, negative 4 is 1 times 4. And then we want to make x. The sum of the cross multiply should be x. So let's put 1, negative 1, 1. And then the cross multiply is negative 3x. This one is 4x. Sum is x. So we got the sum, which is same as the second term. So that, okay, why don't we move to the right? So we have x minus 1 times 3x plus 4 is equal to 0. So set each factor equal to 0. Then from the first factor, we got x equals 1. Plus 1 each side, so x equals 1. And from the second binomial factor, okay, minus 4 each side, then 3x is equal to negative 4, and divide each side by 3. So we have negative 4 over 3. This is or, so either one of these two values will make the equation 0. So these two are the solutions, but always check. Always check. Check means if the denominator, if this value makes the denominator 0, then we will not include this in the solution. And as you see this original equation, the denominator is x. So as long as x is not 0, then that will be it's okay. So since we found two values that is not equal to 0, these two are the solutions. So x equals 1 or negative 4/3. So this is the solution. Okay, this is a focus on question. Okay, solve the equation. Okay, this equation also contains fractions and the LCD. There are two fractions and the LCD is just x minus 2. So let's multiply each side of the equation by the LCD. So let me put a little bit more space here. Alright, so we will multiply the original equation by x minus 2. Now x minus 2, this binomial is a factor. One big factor. So why don't I put parentheses? So we'll multiply the right side of the equation by x minus 2. Make sure to put the parentheses because the whole expression is the LCD. Okay, then we can simplify each side of the equation. So x minus 2, the whole x minus 2 in the denominator will be cancelled out. So we have only 2x. And then for this, the right side, we will distribute. So there will be x minus 2 times 1. That means x minus 2 plus x minus 2 times 4 over x minus 2. So 2x equals x minus 2. And the x minus 2 cancel out from each numerator and denominator. So what we have is only 4. Then 2x, and then simplify each side. So x, the right side is x plus 2. Then minus x each side. So we get x equals 2. Minus x each side, minus x, minus x. So x equals 2. So we found x equals 2. So let's check. Okay, as you see this, look at the denominator. This is really important. The denominator, if x equals 2, then the denominator will become 0 if x equals 2, right? So 2 cannot be the solution. 2, so this is not a solution. Cannot be a solution because since the denominator is 0, if x equals 2, the denominator is 0, then the fraction is undefined, then the equation is undefined. So x equals 2. 2 is not a solution. Not a solution. So once we check this, x equals 2 is not a solution. Therefore, there's no other x value, so that there is no solution. The equation has no solution. Because we have to eliminate this number 2 from the solution, because 2 makes the denominator 0. So t is a restrict value. So we will not include 2 as a solution. Then there is no more x value, so there is no solution for this equation. So it's really important to check the solution that you found. So if that number violates the equation, which means if that number makes the denominator 0, then eliminate from the solution. Okay, let's try example 2. Solve the equation that contains fractions. Okay, from this one, what's the LCD? Okay, the LCD is x minus 4. So this whole thing is one factor. So why don't we multiply the equation, each equation by the LCD. Each equation by the LCD, which is x minus 4 with the parentheses. Okay. Then the left side is x minus 4 cancel out, so we get 3x. The right side is we have to distribute. So x minus 4 will be multiplied by 5 plus x minus 4 will be multiplied by this fraction. And then simplify. So 3x is equal to, distribute. So 5x minus 20 plus x minus 4 cancel out because the whole x minus 4 is one big factor. Alright, then simplify each side. Negative 20 plus 12 is negative 8. And then move 5x to the left, minus 5x each side. Then negative 2x equals negative 8. And divide each side by negative 2. Divide each side by negative 2. So x equals 4. So we found 4. We have to check. If 4 makes the denominator 0, then we will not include this 4 as a solution. So as you see this one, look at this. If x equals 4, this will be 0 if x equals 4, right? 4 minus 4 is 0. So x equals 4 is not a solution because 4 makes the denominator 0 and the fraction will be 0, then the equation of the fraction will be undefined, so the equation is undefined. So since 4 makes the denominator 0, 4 is not a solution. Okay, since x equals 4 makes the denominator 0, makes the denominator 0, x equals 4 is not a solution. So since there's no other x values, the equation has no solution. Okay, so it's really important to check the answer always. All right, please pause this problem number 2 and then solve it. Okay, so if you're done, okay, let's try it together. So what is the LCD? Okay, the LCD is just x plus 2. X plus 2 is the LCD. So we will multiply the whole equation by the LCD. So, okay, let me write it, the equation. And then we will multiply each side of the equation. The whole equation by the LCD means each side of the equation by the LCD. Multiply the right side by the LCD, or you can multiply each term in the equation by the LCD, each term. So this will be, the left side will be just 5x because x plus 2 cancel out. And the right side is, use the distribution property, so x plus 2 times 3 minus x plus 2 times 10 over x plus 2. The left side is 5x, the right side is distribute. So 3x plus 6. And then the last term will be x plus 2. The whole x plus 2 from the denominator and the numerator will cancel out. So we have only 10. Okay, and then simplify each side. Then 3x minus 4. And then minus 3 each side, minus 3 each side. So we get 2x is equal to negative 4. Then x is negative 2. So we found the value x, which is negative 2. What do? Check if this negative 2 makes the denominator 0. So let's go up, and then let's check. Look at this. This will be 0 if what? X equals negative 2. And then if x equals negative 2, then this is not a solution. Not a solution, right? Okay, why? Because negative 2 makes the denominator 0. Then the fraction is undefined. So since the x value that we found is negative 2, the equation has no solution. The equation has no solution. Why? Okay, since x equals negative 2 makes what? Makes the denominator 0. Denominator equal to 0. The 0, so negative 2 is not a solution. Negative 2 is not a solution. Therefore, the equation has no solution. Okay, sometimes we need to use the proportions to solve an equation. Okay, before we get the proportion, actually a proportion is an equation. It's an equation that shows ratios and the rates. Okay, ratio is comparing two quantities. It's a quotient of two quantities with the same unit. So you are comparing two units with comparing two quantities with the same units. Then we can use ratio. So for example, the ratio, the length of the living room. The living room has width and the length. So we can use the ratio of length and the width of a living room. So sometimes like this. If the ratio of A to B, A is the width of the living room and B is the length, then this can be written as A over B, the quotient. The quotient is A over B. Okay, and then the units for the quantities for A and B can be represented in feet. So, like a 12 feet by 16 feet. 12 feet, 16 feet. They are using the same units. And sometimes we can use the rate. The rate has different units. So for example, using 1 gallon of gas, you can drive like 30 miles. So the gas mileage is 30 miles per gallon. 30 miles per gallon. So the rate is something like that, 30 miles per gallon. So per gallon goes the denominator, per 1 gallon. So with 2 gallons, you can drive like around 60 miles. So rates use different units and ratio use the same unit. So proportion is an equation that states the equality of two ratios or two rates. So use the ratios or rates to write an equation. So that is the proportion. Okay, let's try some examples. Okay, for this focus on question, okay, solve the proportion. So we have an equation, and each side of the equation is just one single fraction. So there are two fractions, and this equation comes from the ratio or a rate. It comes from a ratio or rate. So we have an equation. ratio or rate is a quotient, one fraction. So we got an equation from ratio or rate. So let's solve this equation. So when we solve this equation, we can use LCD because this is a fraction. So we can use an LCD. Then the LCD is 3x. So why don't we multiply the equation by the LCD? Okay, so we will multiply this, each side by what? 3x. And this one also 3x. So once we simplify this, we can cancel out x. So 3 times 4 is 12. Cancel out 3, so we got 2x. Then from here, x equals, divide each side by 2. So x equals 6. So we found the value x. So x is the solution. So x will be 6. So for solving an equation like this, if this equation has one fraction on each side, then you can multiply the equation by the LCD. Or you can try this way. You can do a cross multiply. You can do a cross multiply, which means, okay, from this, what you do is cross multiply. Cross multiply means you can multiply this and then multiply this. So x times 2. That is cross multiply. So cross multiply. Cross multiply will work only when the left side of the equation is one fraction. One fraction. Each side has to be one fraction, single fraction. Then cross multiply is multiply these two. So AD is equal to BC. Or BC equal to AD, doesn't matter. So if there is one fraction, it's on each side. You can try cross multiply. Then this will be 2x is equal to 4 times 3. So 2x equals 12. Divide each side by 2. So x equals 6. Okay, if you have something like this, a plus b over 2 equals c over d. You cannot do cross multiply. This is not right. This is not right. This is not right because there are two terms on the left hand side of this. This equation has two terms on the left, so you cannot use the cross multiply in this case. Cannot. Okay, example 3. Okay, let's solve this equation. And this equation has two fractions, one on the left, another one on the right. So we can use the cross multiply. Okay, cross multiply, then 8 times x should be equal to 4 times x plus 3. Cross multiply. So 8x is equal to 4x plus 12 and minus 4 each side, minus 4x each side. So that 4x is equal to 12. And then divide each side by 4, so x equals 3. So we found x equals 3, and then 3 is okay because 3 does not make the denominator 0. Or how can you solve this one? Or you can multiply each side by what? Each side by the LCD. So what's the LCD? Okay, the LCD is x times x plus 3. So you can multiply each side by x times x plus 3. This one by x times x plus 3. Alright, then we will have the same answer. So the left side, you can cancel out x plus 3, so 8x. The right side is cancel out x, so 4 times x plus 3. See? So this equation is same as this one, isn't it? Same. So starting from this, x equals 3. Okay, letter B. Okay, let's solve this equation. Okay, why don't we try cross multiply because the equation has one fraction on each side. So we will do cross multiply. All right, then 6 times 5x minus 13 is equal to 12 times x plus 4. And then distribute. Then 30x minus so 78. 6 times 13. And then multiply x plus 4 by 12. So 12x plus 48. All right, so and then minus 12x each side. We will simplify this equation. Then this is 8x minus 78 is equal to 48. And then plus 78 each side. Then 8x is equal to, all right, so this is 8 plus 8 is 16, 1 up. 4 plus 7 is 11. So 126. Then divide each side by 8. Then this will give you the x value is equal to 1. Is it 8 or 8? Is it 8? Sorry, this is 18, isn't it? Okay, 30 minus 12 is 18. Sorry, it's an 18, 18, 18. So 126 divided by 18 is, let's say, 7. So it will be a 7, right? 7. Okay, so the solution is 7. X equals 7. So is 7 okay? Does the 7 make the denominator 0? Okay. No. So this one is okay. So when we check 7, 7 is okay. It does not make the denominator 0. So 7 is the answer. Okay, for the problem number 3, there are 2 equations. So why don't we pause and then try this? Okay, let's try letter A. Okay, why don't we use the cross multiply? So in these examples, we will use the cross multiply. Cross multiply. Why? Why do we cross multiply? Because each side has an equation. Just one fraction. Each side of the equation is just a single fraction, so we can try this cross multiply. Cross multiply. Then 2 times x plus 5 is equal to 5 times 6. Then 2x plus 10 equals 30. Then minus 10 each side. So 2x is equal to 20. And divide each side by 2. So x equals what? 10. So the value of x is 10. And 10 is okay. It does not make the denominator 0. Okay, let's try letter B. Okay, cross multiply. So 5 times x plus 3 equals 10 times 2x minus 3. Then distribute. So 5x plus 15 equals 20x minus 30. And then minus 20x each side. Okay, let's move right to the left. Okay, then negative 15x plus 15 equals negative 30. And then let's move 15 to the right. We want the x variable x on left side. Okay, then negative 15x equals negative 45. Then divide each side by negative 15. Then from this, x equals 3. So the value of x is 3. And 3 does not make the denominator 0, so 3 is okay. 3 is the solution. Example 4. Okay, this is an application question. It's a word problem. Okay, the monthly loan payment for a car is $29.50 for each $1,000 you borrowed. So every 1,000, the monthly payment will be 29.5. So if you borrowed $9,000, then what will be the monthly payment? So we have to set up an equation that is a proportion. So set up a proportion, And this proportion is an equation of ratios or rates. So in this case, the units are the same, so it will be the ratio. So we will use the ratio of the monthly payment, to the $1,000. So we can set up like this. The ratio, we can write a ratio. A ratio of monthly payment to $1,000 you borrowed. So the ratio for this one is $29.5 to the $1,000. And this will be equal to the ratio of the monthly payment. That's the one we are looking for $9,000 you borrowed. So this will be equal to what? Let's say the monthly payment X dollars for $9,000 you borrowed. So this will be X over 9,000. So we just wrote on proportion. So the proportion is the ratio of the monthly payment to the total amount. So the numerator will be the monthly payment, and the denominator will be the total amount you borrowed. Okay, that's important. So this is the monthly, the numerator is the monthly payment, and the denominator is the total amount. Total amount you borrowed. Okay, so using this equation, let's find X, which is the monthly payment for $9,000 you borrowed. Okay, let me rewrite this one, make it clear. All right, so I just rewrote the sentences again, so it's more clear to read. So we have an equation using the ratio, and the numerator is the monthly payment, and the denominator represents the amount you borrowed. So from this equation, because this equation is the proportion using the ratios, so use the cross multiply, then $29.5 times $9,000 is equal to $1,000 times X. And then divide each side by X. So we have 29.5 times 9,000 divided by 1,000. Then X is equal to 29.5 times 9, and 1,000 cancel out, so that will be, use the calculator, then this will be 265.5. So X is the monthly payment. So the monthly payment will be $265.5. So if you borrow $9,000, then you need to pay $265.5 every month. Okay, problem 4. Okay, 9 ceramic tiles covers a 4 square feet area. And then how many square feet will be covered if you have 270 ceramic tiles? So in this case, we have to use a ratio, the rate or ratio, different units, so it's gonna be a rate. So using the proportion, so we have to write quotient. So 9 ceramic tiles covers 4. So why don't we write an equation something like this? And then with 270 ceramics, how many square feet will be covered? So let's make this one X. Let's make this one is an X. Number of square feet, the area is an X. So we can write an equation. So using 9 ceramic tiles, you can cover 4 square feet. So the numerator is tile, number of tiles, and the denominator is the number of squares, the area. All right, then using the second information, 270 ceramic tiles. So 270 goes to the numerator, and the bottom is number of square feet that will be covered. So the numerator, I will use the numerator as is the number of ceramic tiles. Okay, I will use the denominator. It's the area. It's the area that's covered by the number of ceramic tiles. So 9 goes to the numerator, 4 goes to the denominator. So that should be equal to 270 is the number of tiles, so that it goes to the numerator, and x is the area in square feet, so it goes to the denominator. So from this equation, let's try a cross multiply. So 9x is equal to 4 times 270, and then x is equal to, divide each side by what? 9. Good, 9. Then x equals, you can reduce 270. So 270 is, let's use a pen. So 9 over 9 is 1. This by 9 is 30. So so this will be 4 times 30. Then x will be 120. So 120, the unit for the area is square feet. So with 270 in the ceramic tiles, it will cover 120 square feet, the area. 120 square feet. Okay, example 5. An investment of $1,200 will earn $96 as an interest each year. Then if this rate goes on, then how much additional money must be invested to earn the interest $128 each year? Okay, so in this case, okay, we will use the ratio of the investment to the interest. So, okay, using 100, okay, the ratio of investment, the investment is 1,200. Then this will give you the interest $96. So why don't we use a ratio like this? The numerator is the investment amount and the denominator is the interest. So from the second information, get the additional money. How much additional money? So let's say this is X. So if the additional money is X, so we will add this X to the investment $1,200, so that the interest will be 128. So the additional money is X. So this X dollars will be added to the investment. So there will be $1,200 plus X. Now X is the additional money. So this amount will make what? The interest how much? $128. So we have an equation like this. And then solve this equation. So do the cross multiply. So 96 times 1,200 plus X. Then this is equal to 1,200 times 128. All right, then this is, use the calculator. Okay, 96 times 1,200 plus 96, X is equal to, okay, so this is just multiply. Why don't you use a calculator to simplify this? It's a large number. So whenever you use this calculator, then X will be, okay, so this is equal to 1,000. You know, once you calculate this, it will be something like this: 1,600, and the left side is X. Then X is equal to minus 1,200, so 400. So the additional amount is what? $400. The additional amount is $400. All right, so when you solve this one, use the calculator. The calculator. Then we have this equation. All right, so I just rewrote the equation. So I used the calculator to simplify this. So X is 400, so that the additional investment should be $400. So $400 required for an additional as an investment. All right, example 5. Problem 5. Okay, now 3 ounces of medication. Okay, 3 ounces of medications is required for a 112-pound adult. Then how many additional? Okay, this one is how many additional ounces of medication are required for a 180-pound adult. So we will use this ratio also. So this means a ratio of the ounces of medication. So I will write the numerator. Numerator represents the number of ounces of medication, and the denominator is the weight of a person. It's 120 pounds. So this one should be equal to, okay, how many additional ounces are required? So let's say X is the number of ounces, additional ounces. So we have originally 3 ounces. So we will add X ounces to 3 ounces. So this will be required for 180-pound person. So the denominator is 180, the numerator is 3 plus additional ounces. So we have an equation. So from this equation, we can use cross multiply. So 3 times 180 is equal to 120 times 3 plus X. And then let's find X. X represents the additional ounces. So multiply this, then 540 is equal to 360 plus 120X, and minus 360 each side. Then this will be 180, 120X. Then 180 over 120 is equal to X. So from this, X equals, okay, 18, okay, 180 over 120. Then reduce this. Then 18 over 12, divide each side by 6. Then 3 over 2, which is 1.5. So this one shows the additional amount is 1.5 ounces. Okay, let's consider a similar triangles, similar objects. So there are 2 objects, and 2 objects are similar if they have the same shape. Shape is exactly the same. The angles are the same, but one is large, one is small, or they can be the same. Then we call those objects are similar. So for example, tennis ball is small, but the baseball is larger than this one, but their shape is the same shape. What the only difference is, one is enlarged, one is shrinked. So small and large. And a model airplane is similar to an actual airplane. So you have an actual airplane, but airplane is really big. So when you make a model, then you can shrink it, make it small. That means all the corresponding parts will be reduced if you shrink it. So we have two triangles, and these 2 triangles are similar if each side is a proportion. So it's enlarged or enlarged, then we call it similar triangle. And the angles are the same. So for this one, actually if 2 triangles are similar, then the ratios of each corresponding parts are equal. So y, the ratio of y to b. Okay, y to b is a ratio. So y is height of the smaller triangle, b is the height of the right triangle. So ratio of y to b should be equal to the base. Raise the base of the smaller triangle to the base of the larger triangle. Even that one is also equal to the hypotenuse of the smaller triangle to the hypotenuse of the larger triangle. So the ratio of each corresponding parts are actually equal. Or you can do this way, or you can write it like this. The ratio of the height to the base of the smaller triangle is equal to the ratio of the height to the base of the larger triangle. So you can write an equation like this. Or the ratio of the height to the hypotenuse. The ratio of the height to the hypotenuse of a smaller triangle is equal to the ratio of the height to the hypotenuse of the larger triangle. So as long as the corresponding parts, if the ratio of the corresponding parts are equal, then you are okay. We can make another equation. The ratio of the base to the hypotenuse. So x to the hypotenuse of a smaller triangle is equal to the ratio of the base to the hypotenuse of the larger triangle. Okay, so let's try this focus on question. Okay, find the area of a small triangle. Find the area of the smaller triangle. And these two triangles are similar. Let's say these two are similar. Then we can use this one. Okay, we want to find area of a smaller triangle. Then the area of smaller triangle, what's the area? The area is the base times height divided by 2. That's the area. So for the smaller triangle, we have to find the length of height, x. Okay, let's say this is x. So in this case, we can use a similar triangle, use a proportion to write an equation to find x. So we can use this one. So x to the dx, the height of the smaller triangle to the height of the larger triangle, which is 3 inches, is equal to the base of the smaller triangle to the base of the larger triangle. So in this case, the numerator is the measure of the left triangle, and the bottom is the corresponding measures from the right triangle, right side of the triangle. Okay, so from this we can solve an equation, solve x. So use a cross multiply or multiply each side by 3. We can multiply each side by 3, right? Each side by 3. Is it okay? Multiply each side by 3. Yes. Then x equals reduce. So 5 over 4, 5/4. So that's the value of height. That's the measure of the height in the smaller triangle. So using this, the area is base times height divided by 2. And the base is 5. And the height is what? Height is 5 over 4, isn't it? 5 over 4 and divided by 2. Simplify this. Then this is 25 over 4 divided by 2. Then 2 is equal to over 1, isn't it? Over 1. So 25 over 4 times divided by 2. Then 25 over 4 times 1 over 2. So that is equal to 25 over 8. So there will be 3 point something. So that's the area of the smaller triangle. Or from here, you can do this way. Poopy. 2 equals 2 over 1, right? So use of poopy. What is poopy? Product of outside over product of inside. So 25 over 8. So that's the area. All right, then can we set up a different equation? Yes, you can. Okay, this time let's use a proportion, the ratio of the height to the base. So ratio of the height to the base of the smaller triangle is equal to the ratio of the height to the base of the larger triangle. So the numerator is the height and the denominator is the base. So from this, multiply, use the cross multiply, or multiply each side by what? 5. Each side by 5. Then x is equal to, and then reduce it, so 5 over 4. So we got the same x value. So when you write a proportion, always make sure use the corresponding parts. Okay, the numerator and the denominators should have the same type. Okay, let's try this focus on question. Okay, there are two triangles, and then xy, the angles xy are the same, and one is a right angle, and the other one is angle in black are the same. So actually, these two triangles are similar. So, okay, we want to find OD. What's the measure of this OD? Let's say it is an x. So let's use proportion. Okay, using the larger triangle, we will use the base and the height of the larger triangle. So let's say, okay, in this case, base and height is not quite right. So let's use the numerator is x and the denominator 7 from the larger triangle. So x is, okay, the numerator, in this case, the numerator is the side of, this is the side, the measure of the side of the right angle, and what? And the third angle. Here is x equals y. Okay, x equals y, right? X equals y. The third angle and the black, and then also the angle A is equal to angle B, right? Angle B. All right, so it's the side between the right angle to the y, and the bottom is the side. This is the side of the other one, which is the right angle, side of the right angle, and the black angle, right? Black part. Can you see it? Can you see this? We just want to find the right angle. So from the larger triangle, we will write a proportion of OD and DB. So that should be equal to, from the smaller triangle, okay, the corresponding parts of OD is CO, isn't it? CO, because that's the angle, that's the measure, that's the side between the right angle and the right angle. Okay, right angle. So 3, 2, 4. Okay, 4 is the other side. So we have an equation like this. So from this equation, we can solve for x. So from this, x is equal to multiply each side by 7. then x is equal to 21 over 4. 21 over 4, then that is equal to 5.25 inches. So the length of the side OD is 5.25 inches. Is it inches or centimeters? It's centimeters, right? Centimeters. So it's very important to write an equation using proportion. Use the proportion. So ratio, proportion is a ratio or rate. So we will use the ratio of two sides. One is the leg, one is height, and one is base. Base times height. Base times height. Okay, example 6. Find the length of side CO. Okay, X. Let's find X. Okay, here there are two triangles, and we have two right angles here. And let's say, okay, then the length of AC. The length of AC, this length is 18 inches. This is given 18 inches. Is it inches or meters? Okay, this says meters. Okay, the length, the unit is meters. Okay, so this is 18 meters. 18 meters. Okay, let's use a dotted line. This is 18 meters. And DC is 4 meters and 12 meters. So let's find the length of AC. Okay, we have two triangles, and then let's check if this is this is a similar triangle. Okay, the smaller triangle is similar because this is an vertical angle. So this angle, this green angle is same. And then, so since these green angles are same, let's use this red angle. The red angle is, this is third angle, and these red angles are also same. So the corresponding angles are same, right? The angles are the same, and one is 90 degree, and then green angle, red angle are same. So only the difference is the shape. The shape, one is smaller, one is larger. So these two triangles are similar, so that we can use a proportion to find X. So for this one, okay, we know that we gotta know the length of AO. The length of AO is, the total length is 18, right? 18. So subtract X from 18. Because AO, okay, AC is 18, and then we don't know what the length of OC is. So let's say X is OC. So OA, the length of OA will be the total minus X, 18 minus X. So using this equation, let's write an equation. Using these two similar triangles, write an equation using proportion. So why don't we use the from the smaller triangle? From the smaller triangle, we will use the ratio. Okay, use the ratio. Okay, ratio. I will use the ratio of hypotenuse to the height. In this case, height is the side. Height is the side between 90 degrees and the degree in red. The degree in red. All right. So from the smaller triangle, the ratio of the hypotenuse is 4, and the not the 90 degrees. Okay, hypotenuse is X. The hypotenuse is X, right? X. So from the smaller triangle, ratio of the hypotenuse to the height. Height is the side between the 90 degree angle and the degree in red. So that is equal to, from the larger triangle, hypotenuse is 18 minus X over hypotenuse, ratio of the hypotenuse to the height. In this case, 12, because 12 is the side between the 90 degrees and the degree in red. So we have an equation. So using this equation, let's find x. So multiply each side by 4. Well, the denominator 4 and 12, the LCD, okay, why don't we just multiply 4 each side, because we can reduce the right hand side. Okay, never mind, use the cross multiply if it's comfortable. So 12 times x is equal to 4 times 80 minus x. And as you can see this, 12 and 4, you can reduce it by 4 actually. Then it's much easier, isn't it? You have 12 and 4. So if you divide each side by 4, then the left side will be 3x. So why don't we divide each side by 3? Because I don't want to play with the large number. That's okay. Let's distribute. I don't want to make it confused. So 4 times 18 is 72 minus 4x. Then plus 4x each side. Then 16x is equal to 72. Then x equals 72 divided by 16. Then x equals, you see, divide by 8 each side. Okay, divide each side by 8. Then nine over 2. So 9 over 2 is 4.5. So the measure of the side CO, okay, CO is x. So x is equal to 4.5 meters. Okay. Okay, for problem number 6. Okay, there are two triangles, and the smaller triangle, the larger triangles are similar because both has 90 degrees, and the green angles are the same and the red angles are the same. So we want to find the area of the larger triangle. Area of the larger triangle, so we need to find the length x, length of the side AO. So x, let's find x. So in order to find x, we will use the proportion. And the smaller triangle has two values. Gave us the length of two sides, two legs. So we gotta find x. So what is the ratio of the side between the 90 degree and the angle in green? Okay, so let's write an equation. So ratio of x to the other side, the other leg, should be equal to, from the larger triangle, should be equal to the length of the ratio of 3 to 4 from the larger triangle. Because the numerator is the side between 90 degrees and green. 90 degrees and green. And the denominator is the side length between 90 degrees and the angle in red, 90 and the red. So we have an equation like this. So let's say this side is side 1, and this is the side 2. Then from this one, the numerator is the side 1, and the denominator is side 2. All right, so let's solve this. So x over 10 equals 3 over 4. X over 10 equals 3 over 4. So let's find x. Then x is equal to 3 over 4 times, multiply each side by 10. Then this will be reduced. So 3 over 2 times 5. So 15 over 2. So x is 15 over 2. All right, then the area of the larger triangle AOB. The area is base times height divided by 2. So base times height are the length of two sides. So one is 10 and the other one is x. So one is 10 and the other one is x. So x is 15 over 2 divided by 2. Then the numerator is 5 times 15 over 2. Then that is equal to 75 over 2. So 75 over 2 is around 37.5. So area is square feet. This is centimeter, so this will be the square centimeters. So that's the area. Okay, so it's very important. Using the proportion, we have to write an equation. So proportion use what? Ratio, okay, ratio of corresponding parts.